Atrazine typically runs off cornfields. It then runs into little ditches, streams, creeks, and then into rivers, and then into lakes. And these are the sources for raw water for our community water systems. So when it runs off these fields, it contaminates the sources of drinking water. The case really involved lawsuits on behalf of community water systems, mostly in the Midwest, but representing a class throughout America, which have been contaminated by the weed killer atrazine. Syngenta had done a lot of studies about atrazine, literally for decades, and they knew a great deal about how it could contaminate public water systems, raw water sources. The EPA had some knowledge about it, but the difference between their levels of knowledge was astounding. We chose to use a product defect and a public nuisance theory as the principal bases for recovery because it fit exactly with this particular chemical and its usage. We could show that the fate and transport characteristics of the chemical required that, effectively established that once applied to a field, it was going to wind up in raw water sources for community water systems. So we knew that we could establish that. That they knew, and their own documents established it. Syngenta is formidable in terms of the amount of time they spent and the amount of money they were willing to spend to effectively create diversions. The discovery fights that went on in this litigation were beyond anything I'd ever experienced. The legal team had to set up a review system because of the nearly 10 million pages of documents from Syngenta. Documents were broken out, separated, scattered throughout the production, and they, using metadata and their own software systems that they created themselves, they were able to actually piece a lot of these together. They're the ones really responsible for the success of this litigation. I would hope that one of the lessons from this case would be that other attorneys from around the country might look at this case and find a way to represent community water systems using the same approach that we used with respect to other chemicals. There are dozens of other very serious chemicals that are commonly found in water. That is what I would hope would be what comes out of this litigation.